With Keller Williams and the Excellence in Real Estate team. This is, I believe it's my 6th part of my special report by David Knox on the David Knox literature on pricing your home to sell, a homeowner's guide to selling your home for the most amount of money in the quickest time possible. In this segment, we're going to talk about reasons for overpricing and why the consumer, why the seller thinks that they have to overprice the home, or why they do overprice the home. And one is because of over-improvement. And improvements should be made, let me just emphasize that improvements in a home should be made for the enjoyment of the improvement. Okay, if you're going to put a fire pit in the backyard, you're going to put it in there not because you think it's going to bring in X number of dollars when you sell the property, but you're going to put it in there because you enjoy sitting around the fire pit with the family, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to get value out of it, okay? So whenever you do something in the house, yes, you can think that, yes, this is a nice feature that will help sell and help separate your home from the competition, but remember that you don't want to over improve your property either. You don't want to have every possible improvement, every possible enhancement in there. They're nice, and as long as you're enjoying them, then that's wonderful. But don't think that the more you do is the more you're going to get out of it, okay? Do it you can't expect somebody to, you do something that meets your personal taste, your needs, your desires, and then have somebody come and pay you full price for it. Doesn't always work that way, okay? So the second reason for overpricing is need, okay? A lot of times we'll have a seller who's desperate. Oh, I need this, I got all the reasons in the world, but they really need the cash, and they need to get an extra $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000 out of the house. It's the only way they're going to be able to get through this crisis, and they really need the money, or maybe they're they're just really stressed out, okay? And that happens. And if you're stressed, I'm sorry. I've got my own stress, I've got my own issues, I've got my own life that I live, just like everybody. Your buyers have their own lives, have their own stresses, have their own issues. So it's real important that you separate that, and business is business and personal is personal, and don't let your needs interfere with what the value of the property is. Be realistic. Okay, another reason that people want to sell for more is because they're buying in a higher priced home. So let's say in this market in Southwest Riverside County, you have a nice 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, 3,000 square foot, 8,000 foot lot, 3-car garage, and it's worth $500,000, okay? It's a nice home in a nice neighborhood, and everything is really good. But you know what? You're moving from here. You're going to the beach, baby. You're going to be like in Laguna Beach, and there's nothing there. You get an old 40-year-old 2-bedroom house for $1 million. So you're buying like a $2 million, 10 block away from the beach with a nice view, ocean view, but you're out there, okay? And you're spending $2 million on your new house, and man, you think that, well, let's increase the value. Let's sell this one for $550 because I need that extra $50,000. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you're buying in a more expensive area, that doesn't mean that your house is worth any more just because you're moving to a more expensive area. Your house is only worth $500,000, okay? End of conversation. You get it? Got it? Good. Okay. The original purchase price was too high. Maybe you paid too much for it. Maybe you paid market value last year and you need to sell it this year, but maybe in your particular area, the value has kind of, I hate to say it, it's gone down a little bit, okay? By the time you pay your commissions and your closing costs and everything else, you're not going to get what you paid for the house. Not a good situation. Doesn't mean you can raise the price, doesn't mean that somebody else is going to pay you more just because you find yourself upside down. Sorry. A lot of sellers lack factual data. None of my clients, because when I sit down with them in my listing presentation before they ever sign up, I provide them with the factual data on the marketplace so that they fully understand. And I even offer, and oftentimes I will take my prospective listing clients, my sellers, and I'll take them on tour of the other homes in the neighborhood so that they can see exactly what is available. And then I ask them if, whatever price it is that you want to list your house at, you've seen these other houses in the same price range, which one would you buy if you were the buyer? Okay? Dose of reality, factual information, very, very important. Make sure your realtor works with you in that regard. Okay, another reason is because bargaining room. People say, ah, well, people are always going to offer me a lowball price, and that way I can just, negotiate. And I got some bargaining room, and and it doesn't work that way either. I got to tell you. Okay, you're right. They will always offer lowball prices, but it's much easier to negotiate up to a fair market value than it is to negotiate up to an inflated market value. So bargaining room is not a good reason for overpricing. Price the house properly, and you're going to sell it. Okay. And then other people say, well, we just want to put it on the market, see what happens. It really isn't necessary for us to move right now. We got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. We'll put it up at $550, and we'll just kind of sit back, and when the right offer, when the right people come through, they're going to know that it's worth $550, and we'll just wait for them. Big mistake. Big mistake. Let me tell you what happens here, and we talked about it in an earlier video, is that your property value is up here, and then it's going to age, and the value of it's going to decrease, okay, because the buyer pool is decreasing. Because what happens is, and I'll go ahead and jump into this right now about activity. I'm just going to do this in the next video. But with all of these reasons for overpricing, what happens is most of your activity is going to happen in the first couple weeks, maybe the first month of activity. Okay, and the reason is that when your realtor starts to market the property, they put it on the MLS, they spend time on the phone talking with other realtors. They're getting those realtors active and motivated and ready to go out and look at your property, because every realtor worth their salt has what we call a buyer pool. It's a group of buyers that we've cultivated over time, that when we find the right property, they're going to buy the right property. They're working with us, and we show them property. We send them emails, we send them phone calls and faxes, maybe a couple times a week, and we let them know what's going on. And when we do that, when there's new property, we bring them out and we show it to them. And so the active buyer pool, let's say there's 100 agents, and every one of them is working with let's say 2 buyers. Okay, that's 200 active buyers who now have been exposed to your property, whether they've actually seen it or they've just seen it on the printout and made a decision. But it's 200 buyers that have seen your property. Now, after that first couple weeks, all you have is the new buyers when they come on the market. Okay, so think about it, and those 200, that's 100 realtors, and maybe it took them a month to develop that. Well, now you have, maybe you only have 10, 15, 20 buyers coming on the market every given week that are looking for that type of home in that type of neighborhood, and so on and so forth. So your buyer pool shrinks dramatically after the first couple weeks, after they've been exposed to the property. Nobody likes to look at property that they saw before. Sometimes it's a really great property and it's just overpriced. They really love it, but it's like way too much. Chances are that it's not going to come down to a point where that's acceptable to them. Chances are they didn't even see it because it was overpriced. Because if they're looking for houses, they're qualifying in the $500,000 range, and you've got it listed at $550, they didn't see it. It's over their head. They can't afford that payment. Okay, if it's down here at 500, I got my eyeballs above it. I can breathe. That's where I can breathe. That's 500,000 is my breathing point right here. 550 over my head. So I'm not even looking at property for 550. Make sense? I hope so, because these are real important issues. They're common sense, I think, but then again, I'm in this industry and I see it on a daily basis. So what sometimes is like common sense to me, and why people just don't get it, people just don't get it, because this is like the biggest transaction they've done in their lifetime, and it's all new and it's all different, and they just don't really understand everything. And that's the whole reason for this video. It's not to educate you, to give you all the answers to all the questions for everything that you possibly can need to know. The purpose of this video is, just like all of my video reports, is twofold. One is to get you to know me as a person, because I am just talking straight from the heart. I'm not scripted. I have some notes in front of me, but other than that, trying to keep me on track. But it's really to help stimulate your thought process, so that you have the ability to analyze, and you have the ability to really grasp what's going on within the transaction, and so that you're in control, because your agent is just that, an agent. Your agent is supposed to do what you require them to do. They're not running the show. You're running the show. Remember that. All right. Well, until next time, this is John Occhi with the Excellence in Real Estate team, wishing you and yours all the very best. All right. Make every day a great day because every day is so precious. Thanks again. God bless. Bye-bye now.